Hi, I'm not wearing any pants, and this is Chilling in the Nightmare. Today's video is probably going to be a short video. If it goes on for a long time, then I don't know what happened, because I could probably make a short out of it, or a reel, or whatever. But it's just something that I wanted to say that I've been thinking about. I don't know exactly how to say it, so I'll just say it. And that's that prophets of doom suck now. When I was a younger person, we had legitimate prophets of doom, like Bible thumpers standing on a speaker with a microphone, holding up the Bible, saying, "Repent, the end is near." You know, that's a real prophet of doom. But not only that, we also had 2012. December 21st, 2012 was the day that the world was going to end. And, whether you believed that or not, it was supposed to happen then. And whatever happened then, maybe something, metaphysical occurred. But mostly nothing happened on December 21st, 2012. It was the first day of winter that year. And ever since then, predicting the apocalypse has become more and more ridiculous. Because for one thing, if it was going to end, it would have ended by now. It's been 13 years since 2012. And, every day, week, month, year, people have been saying, it's just around the corner, it's just around the corner. And it hasn't occurred. And not only that, I hear things like, people, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but the ones I do hear them. For instance, one guy's always, this could apply to lots of podcasts. Here's a guy who's complaining about groceries. Okay, so the price of ground beef is getting higher, right? Now, because it's getting higher, that means that we're living in the Weimar Republic, and we're about to, and this is hyperinflation, but it's not hyperinflation, it's just regular inflation. Also, all the money is going to be worthless in a couple weeks. But it's like, you've been saying that for a couple months, and it's just, the situation is not improving, but also it hasn't hyperinflated. And as much as you call ordinary inflation hyperinflation, that doesn't make it so, just because you say it. Furthermore, you could look at the state of affairs in our country and say, this is completely out of control. We are becoming an impoverished nation. And the whole thing is going to burst into flames next year, which is only a week away. Or by the time I post this, it will be next year. And we're all going to be on fire because the entire earth has exploded. Or whatever. And obviously that's not the case. And you think that, what is it? It's the fall of Western civilization. It's like the fall of the Roman Empire. Well, the fall of the Roman Empire occurred over multiple hundreds of years. And you could say that it's still occurring, as the Roman Empire is still there. We still have the Vatican. The Vatican is the Roman Empire, more or less. And it's still there. And I guess you could say it's still declining. But in my opinion, it's on the rise because, my family is Catholic. So if anybody's doing all right, it's the frickin' Roman Empire. But we talk about the fall of the Roman Empire is, the historical parallel to our situation. That empire is still there, and Look at China. China is the greatest nation on earth, obviously, in my opinion. Or if it's not China, then it's Japan, but it's definitely not the United States. But anyways, China has, constantly rising and falling and rising and falling and rising and falling, but now it's just rising and rising, but it's gonna fall again. I can freaking bet you money on that. I promise you, as promising as China looks on the surface, I've studied history, believe it or not. I might just be a burnout dirtbag trucker. I've studied history, and China, no matter how high it rises, it will always fall, because that is what it does. And you think, okay, well, now the commies got it locked down. And communism is a bitch, but it's not enough to fix that situation. Even communism cannot stop China from ripping itself apart. So I don't know when that's gonna happen, but look at me, I'm spitting doom. I'm doing the thing. You get on the internet and you say, oh, this is coming down, but I'm not going to say the United States is coming down. I mean, the United States is obviously coming down, but at the same time, it's not coming down. I mean, China is rising and rising and rising, and it might rise so high before it comes down that we won't even be able to make the connection between the height and the decline. No, it might happen on such a gradual scale that it's imperceptible. And back to the United States, same thing with us. Our decline might happen on such a gradual scale that it's imperceptible. But what I don't like is people getting on YouTube and saying it's going to happen next week. Because maybe I'm taking it kind of personally, but I've always been thinking about doom. Look here, I have it on my wrist. I have a tattoo that says doom. I mean, it's Gur, and Gur is, he sings the doom song. Doom, 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 doomy, doom, doom, doom. That's the doom song. I'm gonna sing the doom song now. Doom, 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 doom. Right, Gur? God, I can't really get it on the camera. I wonder if I can zoom in on it. Here, maybe like that. There we go. Ooh, Gur. Doom, doom, doom. So I know about doom, I'm not just whistling Dixie over here. It's just goofy. And now we'll get to the point of the video, because it's gotten to the point where I feel like if I made a video that was less than 7 minutes and 30 seconds, I'd be like, what am I even doing a video for? But we've gone more than 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so I can, with some semblance of dignity, get to my point about doom, is that they're not going to let it stop. They're not going to turn it off. They're not going to write it off. They're not going to cut their losses and walk away. What do you think is happening? You are not special. You were told you are special. You had something called exceptionalism, which was just an ism. It was just a mentality. You had the mentality of being exceptional, but you were never exceptional. You were led to believe you are exceptional as a means to an end, which was to get you into this situation where, ironically, perhaps you were exceptional, but now through your exceptionalism, you've become non-exceptional, non-essential. And as a non-essential, you will experience essentially a non-essential life. And maybe that's, the end of the world from your perspective, but to me, you just look like an ordinary Filipino. These are my people now. I'm 1/4 Filipino, or maybe more, because I've got two of them, 2 babies from there. But they've been living with it forever, And now you get to know what it's like to experience poverty. But it's just poverty. It's not fire and brimstone. It is not, poles shifting. It is not a giant meteor from outer space. It's just poverty that is an ordinary condition. And every corner of the world, there's nowhere you can go where there has not been poverty at some point. I mean, even, one place I'm thinking where I bet they never had poverty is Switzerland. I bet the Swiss were never impoverished. But I cannot imagine any other place where there was never any poverty. The Vatican. Did you ever live in the Vatican? I bet they never had any poverty. But once again, you're getting on here freaking talking about fire and brimstone because the price of ground beef is up. I mean, it ain't gonna fly. And, civil unrest, it's not doom either. And unemployment and homelessness, that's not doom. It's just poverty. And poverty can go far. It's a bottomless pit. You can go down into the depths of poverty endlessly. Eventually you just die, which I guess, okay. If you're so impoverished that you die, then you are doomed, all right? But if you're not going to die, which you're probably not, because American poverty, there's always going to be something going on. I mean, for frick's sakes, we don't live in a desert. You can go out and eat clover, right? Clover is edible. That's one plant that I know about that's edible that you can eat, and there's others. Although off the top of my head, I don't know what they are. Dandelions. You're gonna live off of clover and dandelions. And in the winter, you pickle the clover and dandelions in salt. I don't know how you do it. Don't become so impoverished that you have to live off of salt clover. Okay, that's not a good idea, and it's probably something that I just made up off the top of my head that doesn't actually exist. But it's not doom, We are not doomed. We are just not doing very good. But there's a big difference between we're not doing very good and we are doomed. As a matter of fact, you should probably try to look on the bright side. And I don't know how it is for other people. My life is freaking great, but I stay grinding. It's not easy, but I've made a situation for myself that I have a 1-to-1 exchange rate with the powers that be. I put my life on the line for them, and they give me a life that, in my opinion, is pretty good. I would not ask for more than what I have right now because I am aware of the value of the dollar. Whereas, okay, sure, I can't go out and buy a house. I probably could go out and buy a house, but it's going to be it's going to be a junky house that's I don't even want it, and I'm going to be locked into a mortgage where right now I trade my life to get by. But if I wanted to go out and get locked into a mortgage, I'd have to trade my soul to get by, which is I guess I would be willing to do it for something if I really thought it was worth my soul. Like there was a house on a lake that we were looking at where I was like, I guess I would trade my soul if I could get this house that looks out over this lake, because the view of looking out over a lake, I suppose, is worth your soul because it's soulful to be looking out over a lake. But I mean, anything other than that, it's really not worth your soul. So I'm a renter, right? And I'm going to be a forever renter, probably. Or, or whatever they call that. And, but yeah, I risk my life at my job, and I work very hard all the time. I grind myself into a pulp to do a good job for this, mega corporation that I work for. And it's a one-to-one exchange rate. I give them my life, they give me a life. And that's how they got it worked out. You got to have something that they want. This is the nature of evil. It's a contract. You make a deal with the devil. The devil does not give you something for nothing. You have to make a deal with it. And I think the problem is a lot of people, they don't have anything that the devil wants. And that's how you become impoverished. And so you got to have something that the devil wants. And if you don't have anything that the devil wants, then I guess that is doom, and you are doomed. But it's just silly, okay, to get on here and say that we're all doomed. They're not going to let it come to an end. This is their arrangement. They've designed it to function as this. It's just a mill. They're just grinding us down into something useful that they can use. Oh, I read this in a book recently, and I'll use the quote. What was it? Augustine? Was that a Saint Augustine? It might have been somebody else. But anyways, he said that, life is like an olive oil. I can't remember what they call those things. A still? It's just how they make olive oil. Oh man, I'm losing it. But anyways, it's like there's pressure. It's a mill. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to chat GPT this. Before. This is the high quality content that we're tuning in for. How did they make olive oil in old times? It's a clever mechanical message. Crush, separate tools, harvesting, crushing. They're crushed into a paste. Mortars and pestles, stone wheels. This doesn't. It's a press. I guess it's a press. The basins start. All right, they make it in a press. So life is like a press where they make olive oil. In the press, there is pressure, and we're all in the press. It's inescapable, and there's pressure. And you either become the olive oil, or you become all the junk. And what you're seeing in the world is all of the junk is very upset that it is junk. And all of the olive oil, you don't ever hear them complaining. These are the rich, the wealthy, the people that are doing good. I mean, you're not really going to hear me complaining because I am blessed. I know I'm doing good. I have, I used to be in all the junk. I know I spent a long time in all that junk in the olive oil, but I was in there and I was squeezed out of there, and I have become the oil. But it almost went the other way, and I very much likely could have gone the other way and turned in all the junk. And so it's not doom, it's just the junk is becoming junk. And it sucks because we shouldn't have to be human junk, but we can't, I guess, not everybody can be olive oil. And there's always going to be pressure, which I don't think there should be, which is back to my whole central thesis on life, is that stupidity is evil, and there is no evil greater than stupidity, and stupidity is in fact greater than evil. No, I mean, stupidity is more evil than evil. I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face because it's very important. But until that changes, there's always going to be pressure. If we had intelligence, real intelligence, we wouldn't need to live in this constant pressure. But we don't, so we do. But that's not doom. It's just business as usual. But maybe that is doom, I guess. Whatever. Deuces.